All right, the Motards lining up again on the short track. These guys should be a little bit more adept with the short track with the wet weather because they're used to it slipping and sliding.
Great start from the 63 of Jet Josiah there, or Magic Star. So he will lead them into turn one. Richie Dibbon got a pretty good start as well on the Dibbon Swartz. Swartz tyres RMZ, but there it is around the outside. Richie Dibbon's going to take the lead of this one. So definitely quite slippery. Someone had to park, start from pit lane, so I'm not sure who that was. But here we go, Richie Dibbon, the 119. He'll love a bit of wet track, a bit greasy in places. There's a dry line appearing, but it is still looking quite treacherous out there, Spider.
Yeah, it is difficult conditions and nobody's practicing this, and if anyone can do it well, it'll be the Motard class. We'll get an idea of what the lap times were yesterday and how they've diminished, how they've gained time with the wet weather. But Richie Dibbon had a crash in the F2 class and he got black flagged when he went out again because he hadn't had his medical check, so obviously he's going to go on and sort that out. Hopefully medical people were available, but that's Richie Dibbon. Look at the lead he's got already. This is a 10-lap race on the short circuit.
Here flying as they head down and rejoins the back straight. Richie Dibbon, all class at the moment, the 119 machine. He's already into the flip-flop. He's got about a 100-metre advantage. Should be back to Jet Josiah there in second place. It looks to be still the Yamaha of Jet in there. And then Duncan Hart, he looks like he got a better start this time around as well. Got a horror start yesterday. So it's all on here. Richie Dibbon crosses the line, Jet Josiah, and then go back to the 74, Duncan Hart. The 40 of Tony Hirony, he's got a much better start this time around. He had to charge through the pack yesterday. So fourth place for him. Russell Josiah in fifth. Will Young is sixth. James Clark, he's in seventh place. Mike Cole, Wilson Woods, and then the legendary Cudge, Craig Scott, rounding out your top 10. So definitely doesn't look like they're slowing down too much, Spider.
No, we've got a different sponsor this year, but not a different sponsor for the Motard class, the Super Moto class at the Suzuki International Series. It's Aramex, but it is the same company. James Clark's father, Graham Clark, he used to run Fastway Couriers. It's the same company, but they've rebranded to Aramex, so it's great to have them coming back. They're obviously acknowledging that they're getting the support out of putting their money towards the sponsorship, and they're getting value for money out of that coming back. We're seeing that a lot throughout the program. Marshall Motorcycles as well are also supporting the motorcycle race meeting, and I can tell you from the officials, the meeting has been declared wet, and what that means is if it was a dry meeting and it suddenly rained, and if it wasn't already a wet meeting, they've got X amount of time to change your tyres. No, it is front of the grid. And they haven't pushed the rules or anything. That's exactly what would happen at all championship levels. They declare it wet, so it's up to you, and they can't stop a race because suddenly it goes wet and they think people are out there on slicks. It's your option. Difficult tyre choices at the moment, and that's standard rules, and it's there for everybody. Of course, if things get really dangerous, they can red flag a race, and hopefully we get through the day. It looks like the weather's breaking a bit there. Absolutely torrential down the Whanganui way and all that sort of thing. The weather looks like it's coming from the north to me rather than the south. So back onto the track now. We had Richie Dibbon running around in the 111s yesterday, so he's running around in the 115, so this is how much the wet weather is affecting it, and that's to be expected, isn't it, Brad?
Absolutely, Eddie. Still a massive 5.2 seconds ahead of Duncan Hart, who's now got up into second place, ahead of Jet Josiah, so the change for second place happened. Duncan Hart, he's going to have a bit of clean track ahead of him, see what he can do to reel in this 5.2 second lead, but Richie Dibbon out and flying at the moment. The fastest man on the track is actually Matt Bro down in the CD Vandermeer Builders pits. He's come Motard Racing all the way down in 15th place. He might have been the one that started from pit lane, perhaps. But there he is. He's the fastest man on track. He is 49.4, so I'm not sure that's probably not quite enough time to be a registered lap. So yeah, we'll just see.
Yeah, that'll be something to do with the pit lane thing. So we probably have to discount that because that's 40. That's 20 seconds quicker than yesterday. So something's got. That's part of the system. But what is Matt Bro actually doing? He's running around the 120s. So the lead bike out there, 114.883. Duncan Hart in the 116.452. Jet Josiah 116.881. Then we go back to the 19s and the 20s, and great racing all the way through. We've got on our commentators' screen here, we've got red arrows where people are passing. We saw 3 or 4 in that last race, and some people moving up. And don't forget, Ctas is on. If you know someone at home or someone anywhere in the world they can want to watch this racing, they can tune in to Ctas Live. Just go on the Internauti, type it in, and it will come up and bring you the link to the timing, and also there'll be a link there to the live streaming. And in about a day and a bit, you'll get notification if you know the right places to look. All this footage from this series will be on the or the day's racing, the weekend's racing will be on the internet through their YouTube channel. And the great thing is about Grant Collingwood and his innovation into motorcycle racing over the years. At Timaru this year earlier on, he ticked over his millionth minute of post-race looks on YouTube, and that was just jet sprints and road racing. That's what he does. He does other things, but a millionth minute. Now he's already ramping up, going towards his 2 millionth minute. So it's great to have him on board. And I talked to him before. He had all his fingers and his toes crossed because he's out there in the weather. We've got the air conditioning on, so it's a tough job for him to look after all his camera. And all this is coming from one man. He might have an assistant cameraman. I think he's got someone here. But that's it. There's Kudge, 62 from Wanganui, long-time Motard supporter, and he's the man that sets up the track at the cemetery circuit. He's been doing that for decades, and he takes a couple of weeks off work. He's paid to do that. It's a long time coming that, but he's paid to do that. They acknowledge that it takes a lot of time to do it, and that's Kudge out there. I think in about, where is he? Kudge is actually about 8th place. Great battle going on in front of him between, who's that there? Tony Hirony from Wanganui, Will Young, James Clark. Yesterday we had 18 bikes on the track. There's one from Waitotra, which is just out of Wanganui, so I'm going to call that a Wanganui bike. That, including him and 8 others, half the field are from Wanganui, the home of the cemetery circuit. And don't forget Wanganui, the cemetery circuit's on Boxing Day this year. If you've got a fairy on the top of your Christmas tree, tie it down, because that will rumble on Boxing Day.
Absolutely, it's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that one. There it is, Richie Dibbin. He's 5 laps down, 5 laps to go. He is lapping still in the 1:15, so still not improving on those times. But Duncan Hart's cool, can't shake Jet Josiah. There's only 0.6 of a second in the battle, second and third. Definitely all on there, but then they've got a massive advantage back to the number 12, Russell Josiah, Jet's father, the man who runs Bike Talk Motorcycles. They're sponsoring the Formula 3 class here for the Suzuki International Series, and all on here with James Clark, Tony Hirony, Will Young, that's 5th, 6th and 7th. Kudge Scott still in 8th place, Matt Brose up into 9th now, Campbell Grayling in 10th, Mike Kyle and Wilson Woods, that's 11th and 12th, James Daniels, and Luke Cabral, that's your top 14. So Richie Dibbin, a massive 8-second advantage, and doesn't look like they're going to be able to catch him.
No Brett Fullerton out there or Godfrey Swartz, 167-100. Doesn't look like they started. They're on the list here, but doesn't look like they actually started. So quick lap time of 1:14.883. So about 3 seconds off. So I didn't even know who's on the program next. I better have a look there. We look in the beautiful program there, and we've got Supermoto. So it's F1 out next. Oh, that'll be tough in these conditions. Tough for everybody. But F1 out there. So we thought Dennis was going out in the sidecars. That was because his wife came up to try and make sure the officials knew that. But he's obviously got something's read something wrong there. Brad, back out onto the track, and Richie Dibbin, the man from Dibbin Swartz in Wanganui there. He's been a hot shot in the Supermoto class, and now he's proving he's a hot shot in the Formula 2 class. And great to have him at the track and the team.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. He's done Asia Pacific representation from New Zealand. He's won races over in Australia as well. So a real New Zealand Supermoto legend, and the new Dibbin Sports Suzuki dealer in Wanganui. So that's great to see Richie Dibbin. And with his F2 exploits, he's definitely one of the up-and-coming superstars of New Zealand road racing. The battle for second place is really heating up. It's only 0.2 of a second in that, and you can see Jet Josiah right on the back wheel of Duncan Hart as they head out of turn 7 at the moment. So there we go. We've got 4 laps to go here, and this is electric, the battle for second and third. Russell Josiah, James Clark, and Will Young, 4th, 5th and 6th. Tony Hirony, Matt Bro, Kudge Scott down in 9th place now. So there we go with that Campbell Grayling rounding out the top 10. So look at that, guys. Got like Campbell Grayling, Matt Bro, a long-time road race boys, going to have Motard to go. So great to see the little change over there, Spider.
Yeah, great. You're more in the motocross world. You and Neil in the world. I'm looking at some of these bikes out there. We've got the RMZ, which is a Suzuki. We've got the FS, which is Husky.
Yep, that's
Husky.
Husqvarna,
The
yep.
YZ Yamahas as well, and the Honda CR450F. And you mentioned yesterday there's a bit of difference between the FC Husqvarnas and what's the other brand of Husqvarna out there?
Yeah, you got an FS and an FC.
FS and FC.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, so the FC that comes out as a motocross bike. That's the motocross model, and Husqvarna actually bring out a Supermoto 450 called the FS 450. And the subtle differences: the subframe and the engine are the same, but the head angle's a little bit different on the front forks, and also there's a wider swing arm for that. So yeah, that's the 2 Husqvarna 450 models, and Supermoto racing quite big still in Europe, where Husqvarna come from. So that's that's the story there.
And what about when they come up? The top riders particularly get off their bike and walk down and do something to the forks. Can you explain that, please, there, Brad?
Yeah, we call that the whole shot device, and it just compresses the front fork and locks over the top of the middle of the fork, and then when they drop the clutch, it releases it and helps them to launch in a straight line and keep the rear wheel in front of the front wheel, if you know what I mean. We've gone to red flag there, Spider, so we've got a red flag here, trying to pick up where that's all happened, but we're not sure, so we've got a red flag here as we were talking, crossing the line there. So
it's a 10-lap race. We've got 8 laps gone, so I'm just going to, and this is all provisional, I'm just going to say they're going to call it at that. There's enough, there's 65% of the race run, so I will confirm with the officials that that's a situation, but that will be what's going on. So that's a bit of a shame. It's nice to run to the line and run to the honours, and hopefully there's no debris on the track because we've got superbikes out next time. I got an idea it might have happened there about turn 9 there, because that's the only place we can't fully see. There's a bit of an Armco on there, but a red flag. Great flag work earlier on, particularly for that marshal there, coming into turn 12 off that long back straight. Twice in the Gixxer Cup there was a bike going down. Before the bike had almost even touched the ground, the yellow flag was out, and that's a very crucial, everywhere's crucial, but that's a very crucial spot. So Neil Ritchie.
Yes indeed, and please, I just want to reinforce those words that were said and we put out on the public PA as well for our Formula 1 coming up. They're going to get 2 laps warm up. So what it is, of course, is a drying track, and to make sure, and obviously whatever it is something significant, as both the medics and the Suzuki crash rescue team are heading out onto the track as well. So just to repeat that, when our Formula 1 class are going out on the for the warm-up, they will do 2 laps. Now, the reason for doing 2 laps, of course, is that with 1 lap, it actually is not really 1 lap, because you don't get to have the intense speed of along the front straight here, which is certainly a plus to get those tyres warmer, ready to go for racing. So that will effectively mean that there's more warm-up time for both rider and bike, and particularly tyres, so that they're well prepared, ready to go at the start of the race. And one of the things you'll notice now with racing is the fact that the length of time between the riders pulling up on the dummy grid to actually, onto the grid itself and to the start of the race has got less and less, and the reason for that is we're trying to eliminate the time for the tyre to cool down. So courtesy of Reacher, this fantastic new premier European motorcycle apparel brand coming out of Belgium of all countries, and now proudly distributed by W White, proud to be sponsoring our Formula 1 lineup as we welcome our international riders.